Welcome to the RecoverMate Podcast, where love, sobriety, and life gets real. I'm Rick.
And I'm Danielle. We're a husband and wife team sharing our personal journey through sobriety. And together, we are having all the difficult conversations that most people are too afraid to have in their relationship.
We're diving deep into the hard stuff, from our own past to recovery, parenting challenges, finances, and everything in between that comes with building a life together.
And trust us, nothing is off limits here. We're keeping it raw, honest, and unfiltered because that's what recovery, love, and real life looks like.
So whether you're sober, curious about recovery, or just looking for ways to keep love alive while living a sober life, you've come to the right place.
We're excited to share our most forbidden conversations with you. So grab a seat, buckle up, and get ready for the kind of discussions that you won't hear anywhere else.
Let's go!
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the RecoverMate Podcast. Thanks for joining us and being here with us today, guys. So today we're going to be talking about our 44 Strong Challenge, and we are almost halfway. So I think by the time that this podcast is released, we should be halfway, I believe.
It'll be the halfway point, yep.
Yeah. So guys, we had no idea really about how effective this challenge was going to be. I remember it was a conversation we had to sit down and to really build something and offer something free for people to do if they were really struggling with their addiction. And so we sat on it for 6 months.
It was probably about 3 months of putting it together, and then about 3 months of sitting on it, finalising it, make sure everything looked and seemed okay.
But it was tricky because personally, we've never done a challenge based around giving up an addiction before. So we didn't even really have a blueprint to go from, but we knew what it was like when we were trying to give up an addiction and what we really felt would make such a big impact and such a difference. And we utilized all of those things and put them into this challenge. But then it was like, okay, we've got to actually release the challenge. So thankfully we got a bit of a shove by the universe and was like, hey guys, release something. And so we did. And then we were like, we need to do this challenge. We actually really need to see firsthand the experience of going through this challenge and what comes up and where it might need tweaks. And yeah, so we launched it.
Yeah, we did. And like you said, we wanted to experience it ourselves, because it's all well and good creating something and then having other people try it and then give you feedback. But if you can actually do it yourself and pretty much be in the trenches with everybody else, feeling the same emotions, feeling the same anxiety that might come out of it, feeling the same stresses and pain in the body from the fitness side of things, it was just nice to experience it with them as well.
Yeah, and we didn't know if anyone was even going to sign up. So we were blown away. I think in the first couple of weeks that we did an early release, we got 10 to 15 people sign up. And we thought, great, because this is a good amount for us to know how this challenge is going to work, what things we need to tweak, and then also just be with them throughout that experience. And obviously we created the Recovery Room, which is a private Facebook group. And in that, every day of the challenge, we have a short video. And we explain the fitness component of the challenge, because the days are made up of 3 components. 1 is a fitness, 2 is a reflection, which is a personal inner dialogue or an activity that you have to do. And then the last one is like a social post, and that's about accountability and keeping yourself checked and good. But we're coming to you guys today because we're about halfway in with very minimal tweaking done. But we've been absolutely blown away by the feedback. And some of it has just been beyond anything we could have ever imagined. There are people that are actually starting to physically feel stronger, which is anchoring in better habits. There are people that are experiencing decreases in their urges and their cravings. We're having people talk about the uncomfortableness of certain situations, particularly the social posts. Like, some people are happy to just hide away in their own little worlds and try and deal with things on their own. But part of the challenge is actually to push you outside of your comfort zone and do things you maybe thought you couldn't do. and then were very surprised that you could do them. So the challenge is made up of individual components, and none of them are the same each day. So they're always changing and they're always different. And that's what just keeps it interesting and it keeps it fun. But then also having the community around you as well. So the support that we've had each day is absolutely amazing. Like you said, we've been doing it as well. So we've been jumping in and being very raw and honest and vulnerable in how we show up throughout this challenge. But I don't know about you, it's had such an impact on me, how I'm seeing things, how I'm dealing with things, looking at things that just aren't okay and being okay with whatever happens. And I've been reading more, I've eliminated sugar for the last 22 days. So it's actually been really, really great.
Yeah, like you say, like we've created those 3 different components each day to go through. And there's a reason why we've done those 3 components. Was the fitness side of things is to move your body every day. So when you're stuck in addiction or stuck in a certain habit, to feel good about yourself, you need to move your body. So by moving your body, you're feeling good, and those addictions or the urges you have for those addictions start to slowly mellow away for that day. So for someone who is a homebody or works behind a desk or doesn't move a lot during the day, it's really good to get out and actually move your body in certain ways. And creating the daily fitness plan makes you accountable for yourself, going, all right, I have to do this sometime today. Either I book it in the morning before I go to work, or I do it at lunchtime, or I do it after work. But I know this is what I have to do. And I know if you haven't got a plan in place, it's very easy to go, I don't feel like doing anything today.
Yeah.
I know I should go to the gym, but it's not in my time schedule today. I can't do it. But if you're almost forced into it because the challenge is providing for you, and you've got a schedule every single day going, all right, day 2, I need to do this. All right, today's day 5, what have I got? All right, I've got a 45-minute workout. I know what it is.
And also, like the fitness component releases the happy hormones, it releases the dopamine. And a lot of us in addiction, we get dopamine hits through Facebook scrolling or alcohol or drugs or gambling, pornography, whatever it may be. We're getting those spikes of dopamine. But when we actually work out and we do those hard things that we didn't think we could do, our dopamine spikes and it stays at a higher rate for a longer period of time. So we actually are feeling more good and more better about ourselves for longer periods of time, rather than those spikes of going, okay, I've been drinking too much alcohol, and the brain tries to recalibrate back to a normal part, and then it points us right back down, and then we go through those spikes and drops, or those highs and lows that we experience, particularly when we're having sugar or drinking or having caffeine.
Yeah, exactly right. And when it comes to the reflection side, like for me, my mind runs at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So if I'm always thinking about something's always going on, and it's always going crazy.
It's an understatement.
Yes. So when it comes to reflection, you've got one side of reflection, one side's an open notebook you can write in. So really good for the reflections to be able to actually write in this notebook and get all these thoughts I have in my head and all these feelings I have in terms of where I'm at and what my reflection thing is for today. To get it onto paper has been incredible. Like journaling is something I've been told I should have done a long time ago. It's something I never ever got into. It was never something I was never interested in. But doing this challenge and having to journal every day has just been remarkable for me, but just remarkable for my inner thoughts and patterns and inner dialogue that I have with myself.
And you're not the first to say that. So we were actually going through the recovery room group before, and we're actually speaking to somebody earlier today who's currently doing the challenge with us. And they were saying the same thing. Like the journaling, they just didn't realize was just so impactful, and that they were actually wanting to continue to do it after the challenge. Because you are right, it's just getting those thoughts and feelings or those things that are just taking up space in our heads and just popping it onto paper. And as a part of us, it just leaves it there. But there's also a part of us that really sits in that and goes, oh, wow, that's really real for me. And it brings up the emotion that is directly linked to that pattern or to that habit or to that addiction.
Yeah, and someone like me whose inner dialogue is quite negative on themselves, when you got to bring up something you've done as a strength, what strengths you have, or what's some hard situation you've gone through, and how you come out the other side a better person, to actually sit there and write that down, you start going, well, I am, more capable. I am better than I think I am. And why is my inner dialogue telling me this? Whenever this is proof that I'm not that person. So it's just been really nice to almost sit with yourself and reflect internally and have those good parts you come out, not what the inner dialogue is always telling you of how shit you are, evidently.
Yeah. And so we had a really interesting question the other day. So a lot of people in our lives know that we do a lot of personal work on ourselves. And someone came up to me who's never done any type of personal development work. And they were like, can I still do your challenge and will I still get something out of it? The answer is yes, because our challenge is such a personal experience. We've framed it up in a way that anyone can pick it up and they can get something from it. And each day there is always something more. A lot of people are not finding the fitness component the challenging part of it, but they're finding the social component the hard bit, because you've actually really got to put yourself out there. And you really got to show up in a way that other people are going to see. And you'll be really surprised how much our addictions just grab on to shame and guilt. And when we start to really shine a light on all of that, it actually has nowhere to go. So you actually end up having to deal with it. And the beautiful thing about that is when you actually start to deal with it, you realize that the thing you're addicted to or the bad habit that you have becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. And so we're watching the people who are doing this challenge with us, giving us this feedback and telling us that this is what they're experiencing. And even for us, being able to watch you and your journey with caffeine was absolutely insane. I know we did a podcast not so long ago about your coffee addiction when we first started in with the challenge, but now we're a bit further in. How do you feel about it now?
The urges aren't there. So I don't no longer have to get up in the morning and have a coffee. I mean, I've been back to work a few times since that last podcast we had. And what I basically did was I went and got some decaf coffee, little satchels I can take to work, just in case, I was drinking 3 or 4 cups a day for both day shift and night shift. So just those times where I felt that I wanted that warm drink or have that coffee sort of feeling, I guess, of getting through the shift, I'd get a satchel, I'd, put the whole water in it, I'd drink that and remove those urges or remove the feeling that I have to have coffee, I have to have caffeine. Because it's no longer me having to try and perk up again. It's just the habit of drinking it. Especially on night shift, you get to midnight, 1 in the morning, and you've got another 2 or 3 hours to go before you go home, and you're starting to get sleepy eyes and struggle through the shift. It was just nice to have one of those, not for the pick me up, but just for the anchoring of. I normally have one of these at midnight just to get me through the last 3 hours, and then I sort of go home.
And what I noticed is, for those of you who don't know Ricky, he is very anxious. So he is constantly speaking a million miles an hour. He's very intense in how he delivers things, and he's a lot scatterbrained. So if you ever really see him in day-to-day life, he's doing a million things all at the same time at a million miles an hour. And then he has caffeine and he's doing it at 3 million times an hour. So what has been really great is watching you actually slow down. So how does it feel to actually remove that caffeine? What changes and differences have you noticed?
My energy levels are, for me, which feels so strange, someone who's been so high and so low all day, every day for the last 15 years, is it's just mellowed out. I'm pretty much flatlining energy the whole way through, which isn't a bad thing, but for me, it just feels weird. I'm always someone, like you said, I'm on edge. I'm always doing something, going this million miles an hour. So I'm always having the caffeine, I'm hitting this top peak where I can, run for days. And then obviously the caffeine will go away and I'll mellow out again and I'll hit the ground floor and another caffeine go up again. So I'm almost looking like a heartbeat monitor as it goes, boom, boom. That's sort of how my day goes. But these days, it's all just, I feel like I'm flatlining the whole way through. I feel like I've got the same energy when I wake up to when I go to sleep. And why I say it's weird is because I'm so used to being that at the top. I'm so used to my energy levels up and down all day, that I feel like I've got an energy reserve. So I feel like I'm so reserved all the time, where if I need to, I can almost pick it up and go and do something. Like for me, even like footy training, I'd have a coffee before footy, or I have some pre-workout before a game, or I do all that thing and then I need that energy spike to get me through. I've always played footy since being off caffeine, and I was so worried that my energy was going to die off by the end of it, or I wasn't going to be in the zone when it comes to playing. But it's like anything. It's like I've got now energy reserve to feed into when I need to do more stuff. When I need to get through the night, I'm not falling asleep by midnight. Or, feel my eyelids sort of closing by midnight at work. I can get through to 3 o'clock and still have a decent conversation for my handover with the next supervisor. When it comes to having to go to the gym, like I can work a 12-hour shift and then go to the gym afterwards to get through that without the caffeine. So I feel like I've got a reserve there now that I've never had before, because I've always been this up and down sort of guy, that the reserve I can kick into when needed. So yeah, I'd say that my energy levels are more flatlining. There's no up and down spike. There's no craziness anymore. And then when it comes to that, there's also no anxiety. Okay, when I say there's no anxiety, there's a little bit of anxiety. I haven't got away from all of it. I haven't got away from all of it. So there's a little bit, but there's definitely not as much as I used to have. And I feel more calmer. I feel more in touch with myself.
You're more regulated.
Yeah, like I don't feel like I'm always spazzing out at times because I'm frustrated and don't know what's going on. And so for me, that's been nice. And the journaling's definitely helped. And it's made me just realise that I was just caught in this wagon wheel of heaps of energy, no energy, heaps of energy, no energy. And for me, that, sent me down this downward spiral for so long. But for you, obviously, a big thing for you in this challenge was sugar. So I know, even when we talked about it in the last podcast, you it was kicking your butt a little bit. How's it going for you now?
Well, I mean, it still has its challenges, particularly because it's in fucking everything. Like, seriously.
You try to get a hot cross bun this morning?
Oh, I know. Like, an Easter as well. Like, Easter eggs, because God forbid you can find sugar-free chocolate. Thankfully, I have, but I'm like, Jesus, the amount it costs for the sugar-free tiny little block of chocolate is like, I could have got 5-10 blocks of, your Cadbury chocolate. So
you got to hide from the kids because they want to eat it.
I know, right? And then, I brought out this only block of chocolate I can eat, and the kids don't want to have it. But I mean, it's challenging because, like I said, it is in everything. But what I've come to realize is how much I was using sugar to just numb out how I was feeling. And I know for some that's going to sound a bit odd, but when I'm going through things or when I'm in an emotional place, I'm looking for the happy hormone. I'm looking for that, that's something to make me feel good. And sugar was it for me. Like, it was, again, easily accessible. It's in everything. But what I found to be the most challenging bit of it all is actually having to pick up something and look at the back of the label and actually see how much sugar is in it. For me, that's never really been a thing. It's not even something that's been on my radar. Usually I was looking at like carbohydrates, or I'd be looking at the sodium, but looking at the sugars, it was just, I don't know, it's like a whole other world. But not having sugar for the last 22 days has been amazing. I feel I'm so much more clear, I'm more concise. I'm not waking up and feeling tired as well. Like, I always felt that.
And the skin's better?
My skin cleared out.
You're looking good, girl.
Oh, thank you. And like, I've noticed the inflammation in my body has started to reduce as well. And I just, like, in the challenge itself, it's just created so much more awareness for me on how much I rely on emotional eating, how much I rely on sugar to pick me up when I'm not feeling great. When I was doing one of the exercises on whatever day it was, I actually come to the conclusion of where a lot of this started, and it was when I was pregnant with our son. And they said I had gestational diabetes. And I remember, because I worked in a dental clinic at the time, and we were working very long hours, and you were in TAFE trying to do the last of your trade so that once we had our son, we had the money coming in. And I remember I was working every day. I think I worked every day for 6 weeks because it was a 7-day clinic. And I relied on lollies so much to keep me going because I couldn't drink. I don't do caffeine, so I don't do coffee. And like that left nothing but sugar to like give me, as you were talking about, that peak and that drop. So in our office, we would have bowls of lollies or bowls of chocolate, and it was just like a pick-me-up. It was what I could get through for the last patient of the day and then go home and be able to bath our daughter and cook dinner and do whatever needs to be done. And while you're pregnant, you have to be very mindful of what you're eating and how you're sleeping and all of those things. But for me, it was just pure survival. So when I was doing the reflection component of that, that became very evident to me that that's been a big part of me that I've just carried through because, like I said, I don't do the coffee and, I wasn't really a big drinker, particularly when our kids were first born because, you're breastfeeding or you're pregnant. So for me, naturally, alcohol decreased at that time. But yeah, so that was massive for me. And had I not been doing this challenge and not been asked that question throughout the challenge, I don't think I would have made that connection or had that awareness. And so for that reason, I'm finding the challenge bloody amazing because it's just waking up my consciousness and my awareness around why I'm actually doing what I'm doing and where this has come from and how can I actually break it and then how can I replace it. And some of the things I've been doing is obviously your sugar-free options. I'm not keen on the sugar-free lollies. They just don't feel the same to me. I feel like that's something I can just completely eliminate altogether. But chocolate's been hard, particularly around Easter when you walk into the supermarket, any supermarket, even Bunnings, and you're seeing chocolate. So massive temptation at this time of year, which again just feels like even more of a part of the challenge. But yeah, I mean, the protein balls, the chocolate protein balls, they've got coconut water, which I've really been enjoying, just that sweeter drink as well, and the natural sugars with the coconut water. Bananas and smoothies have been massive for me, increasing the protein and yeah, like the sugar-free chocolate, which I've only had 2 blocks, so it's like out of a block, like 2 little blocks. And it's just been enough. I didn't feel like I needed more. I'm not using it to suppress any emotion. It's because I actually enjoyed it and I really savored the moment. Whether before I would have hoffed down a whole block and not thought anything of it.
Now, obviously, we're talking about the commercial side of sugar, not so much the natural sugars. Obviously, natural sugars are fine, obviously in moderation to a degree, but we're talking about the artificial sugar and the man-made sugar and all that kind of stuff. So, no, it's been good, and I've seen how much you've struggled, I suppose, especially the first sort of week or two. Yeah. But you are really, kicking it the button and putting your best foot forward in terms of how to arrange this. Like, I know you had to go out the other day and buy the kids all their Easter eggs and all the family some Easter eggs, and that you did it on your own. You didn't have me there to help you out by your side or anyone else. So I know that would have been hard for you to have to go, I can't have that, and I can't have that one, and I can't have that one.
And going past my favorite, like those little Turkish Delight Easter eggs. Yeah, so there's been parts that have been tricky, but overall, the experience has been amazing. I've been finding out so much more about myself, the reasons I do what I do, even like how I'm feeling about food in general. And like I said, it's just been incredible for me. But also, as a whole, hearing everybody else and their experiences, being a part of that community and a part of the recovery room during the challenge is just something so unique and so special. And yeah, I mean, like, it's been really, really great.
Yeah, we've definitely been enjoying the conversations in the recovery room and enjoying the camaraderie that comes with it. Like, everyone's able to say what they need to say, and there's always support in the background. Like, everyone's always so on high vibes and really just taking in how everyone else is feeling and what they're bringing to the table when it comes to this challenge. Everyone's got their own hurdles to jump over. So to have someone else by your side, or a whole group of people by your side, that can have these conversations and really just support you along the way has just been remarkable.
And for those of you who are listening right now and, you can hear, okay, maybe there's some things I need to focus on, or maybe there's some patterns that I need to break. And I say this because I was talking with a good family member this morning. And for those who are living in the spiritual world, we know that this year is a ninth year as a collective, as humans. And we need to break patterns this year. So this is our year as a collective, as people, to do something different. Otherwise, there's a high chance we're going to repeat all of the things that we have in the last 9 years, 10 years. We're going to repeat them all over again. And so, this is a perfect opportunity to lean into a challenge or lean into something where you can really focus on, okay, maybe I have this I need to break. Maybe I have a bad pattern. Maybe there's some things in my life that I'm not okay with or I don't have awareness around. And this is a good option. It's free. We made it that way, so it was accessible for anybody. And like we said, it's a very personal and unique experience. It's your own journey. And from what we can see from people who are doing this, as well as what we're seeing in each other, is there's been immense change as well. And 44 days is not a long period of time on the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, like we're already halfway through it now. And it feels like it's just flowing through. Like I can remember the first day of the headaches and falling apart from no caffeine, like it was yesterday. And today I see it as it's a whole different change in myself. Like I have just a nice flow of energy. I'm not running for a coffee or an energy drink to perk me up and get me going. So don't think that there isn't a habit you need to break, because there's always something. There's always something we can have to level us up. Now, some of us have coffee like myself or caffeine. Danielle's got sugar. Some have got just food addictions in general. Some have got procrastination. Some have got gambling. Some have got all these different ones that are getting in the way of the life they want to live. So the point I'm making is there's always something. If something you can feel right now is getting in the way for whatever reason, maybe it's a time to look into that.
And it's a perfect opportunity, because if you think about it from a perspective of going, I don't want to keep repeating this. I don't want this to be a part of my next cycle in life. Make a choice today. Make a choice to go, okay, how do I lean in and I really start to do things differently? And it will have a direct impact on not just yourself, but the people around you. And in our experience, when we do more work on ourselves, everyone around us automatically starts to get better. Everything around us starts to get better because we're in a different place. So if you don't have the skills or you don't have the tools, and you have a habit like Ricky was saying with, addiction or alcohol, pornography is a really big one right now for a lot of people in relationships particularly. So if anything is holding you back from having a great life or a great relationship or just doing what you want to do in this lifetime, then come and join us and do the 44 Strong Challenge.
And like we've said in the past, we're all here for you. We're all here with you. We're all here to support you. But if you feel that you don't want to go through each day alone, find a partner. Either use your partner or husband or wife that you have to do it with them, or find a friend. Contact someone that you might want to do the challenge with so you can do it alongside them. So luckily for me, I've got Danielle, and we'll be doing each day at the same time, doing the same challenges. And we have another couple that are doing it at the same time. We have a friends group that are doing it at the same time. So if you feel that you don't want to do each day by yourself in terms of that day alone, find a partner, accountability partner.
Yeah, and we have the recovery room as well. So there's other people who have either done the challenge before or are currently doing the challenge, but also could be looking for somebody as an accountability buddy. But regardless, whatever it is, start. Just start. Build your brick one. Build your foundation for the next cycle of life and the next 10 years. And we hope to see you guys there. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to another episode of the RecoverMate Podcast. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.